everyone, and welcome back to 9 to 5 After Hours, the MCTV and Players collaboration for this year's spring musical 9 to 5. I'm your host, Billy Walker, and today I will be showing you some of the hard-working people behind the scenes. These people include our lovely stage manager, dramaturg, assistant choreographer, and dance captain. And our first guest is going to be TJ Perez, who is the stage manager for this production. Hello, TJ. How are you?
Hello, Billy. How are you? I'm good.
Oh. I'm good. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So you're the stage manager.
I am.
And what does that entail? Like, what are you responsible for?
So I'm in charge of basically all of the administrative stuff. So, I'm there for auditions. I collect audition forms, look at people's schedules, compile everybody's schedules, get all of people's contacts information once they've accepted their roles. And then I sit down with Will, our director, and I make the rehearsal schedule. I'm there for pretty much every rehearsal. I fill out rehearsal reports of who's there, who's late, did we budget our time correctly, did we give too much time, not enough time, so we can readjust things further down the line. I do a lot of scheduling. Once you start scheduling, you never stop with these shows. It's terrible. We just finished the schedule 2 days ago, because we had to keep moving things. There's a lot of external staff and their schedules change. But I do a lot of administrative stuff. I sit in on all the rehearsals. I get to see the show from start to finish, which is really cool.
Now this isn't your first time stage managing
it
here
is not.
at Players.
Not my first rodeo.
So what other shows have you stage managed for here?
So I started with Players my freshman year. Very first semester, I assistant stage managed for the Laramie project, which was fully Zoom show that we did.
COVID.
The COVID era. It was that show is it's very serious. And it was kind of an odd intro, especially because I was doing a lot of Zoom audio stuff, which was so weird. But that was a really fun first experience. And then I assistant stage managed for the student slot that year, which was Marcus is Walking. And then spring semester of my freshman year, I had my first solo stage management show, which was Oedipus Rex, which was also incredibly interesting. I love that show though. There was a lot of funny memories from that show. And I did that. I had two assistant stage managers, Grace and Peyton, who I love them. Shout out to them. And then I did the previous year, my sophomore year, I did the Fall Main Stage, Significant Other, which was great. That's my favorite show that we've done here today.
That was a good one. That was my freshman year, and I saw it. It was so good.
It was such a fun show to work on. And then I assistant stage managed again for the student slot last year, which was Play On, which I also acted in.
You did?
I did. I was Louise. I was basically just playing myself. I was a stagehand. I was playing the stagehand in the play, so I was literally just playing myself.
Method acting.
And then I also stage managed for Cabaret, the musical we did last year. So
that was our first show together.
It was. That was so great. I missed that. I loved working with you.
That was a good one.
Yeah, very much not my first rodeo. I've worked stage management on every single show, main stage and student slot that we've done since I've been here.
That's wild.
With the exception of the fall semester last year, I did not. I did not do that.
Enemy of the people. So for going back to 9 to 5,
yes.
What is your favorite part of the show?
Oh, well, I mean, my favorite scene in the show, I just love Around Here. It's my favorite number.
That is a fun one.
We just added some choreography into it Sunday. So that was super fun. It's such an upbeat song. But my favorite part personally, from a tech perspective, is the finale of Act 1, because spoiler, we're suspending someone in the air in a witch.
What?
Yeah. So I'm just really excited to do that because it's something that we've never done before. It's not something so we have our lighting designer, Kira Ferguson. She's done this show before, so she has a lot of the equipment already. One thing I'm really excited for is she's got the Xerox machine, which is a big part of the show that in the copy room. She already has an automatic tray that will spit out paper at you.
Wait, that's so cool.
Yeah. So she has a winch that you can use to lift someone up in a harness, and so we're gonna be suspending someone in the air. So it has a lot of technical elements that I'm really excited to do that we haven't done before. The lighting design for the show is so cool. It's a lot of moving lights that'll wash out the whole stage, and a lot of LEDs. Not a lot of fixed Fresnels that you have to gel individually. So it's a lot of color. It's a lot of moving light. I'm super excited to get to Q2Q and do all the lights for this show. So I guess lights are my favorite part of this show. But lights are my favorite part of every show. They're so cool.
Now, what has been your favorite memory from rehearsals?
Okay, this is such like a nerdy thing. So we do the rehearsal reports I was talking about earlier. We do them on Google Docs, and so I'll be on there for the rehearsals I'm on, and my assistant stage managers, which for this show are Mark Cardone, Maddie Braun, and Annie Brennan. Like a lot of multiple of us will be on there at a time, and Google Docs has this little like chat feature,
I love the chat feature.
where if there's multiple of you on the dock at the same time, where you can talk in the chat. And I like that chat it's hilarious to me because we're just like wildly throwing insults at each other. Everything is misspelled, and my favorite thing is like Mark has a lot of night classes because he's a civil engineer, and like he'll pop onto the rehearsal reports like while he's in class, and we'll be like, "What are you doing here? Go back to class." And he's like, "No, I just want to see what's going on." And I'm like, "You're looking at a document that I'm not typing anything in. Like, what do you mean you want to see what's going on?"
Oh my god.
I was like, yeah, no, it's really fun. Like, I don't know, it's so fun because it's like we're whispering to each other, but like we're not actually saying anything. That and like when I look over to my right and Mark is sitting next to me just doing homework on the table, like, and I'm like, why aren't you taking blocking notes? And he's just like, leave me alone. I'm like solving calculus.
Oh my god. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Of course. Again, thank you for having me.
And you're welcome. And I can't wait to see the lighting. I can't wait to see the lighting now. I'm very excited. And whoever you're suspending from the ceiling. Can't wait for
It's
that.
a little mystery, but if you know the show, you know who it is.
I think I know who it is, and I cannot wait.
I'm really excited for that, yeah.
Our next guest is going to be Erin Sheff, who is our dramaturg for 9 to 5. Hello, Erin.
Hello, Billy. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm the teacher too. So you are the dramaturg for 9 to 5.
I am the dramaturge.
What is dramaturgy? What is it?
So dramaturgy, I just learned this year.
Because I also didn't know what it was
Because-
before coming to Manhattan College.
Yeah, neither did I. I just showed up and I was like, "What do you want me to do?" And TJ was like, "You could do dramaturgy," and I was like, "What is that?" So basically, what a dramaturge is, it's someone who, if a show, especially like 9 to 5, or when we did Enemy of the People,
Right.
especially period pieces, is someone who you can ask certain historical questions of like the context surrounding the show. So like for Enemy of the People, it was a lot of like, and Cinna was also the dramaturge for that one.
Right.
So like for that show, it was a lot like, what is this thing that they're talking about? Because we don't use the same
Right.
things. For 9 to 5, there hasn't been a lot of questions because 1979 wasn't that long ago, and Will
Compared to like the 18.
yeah, compared to the 1800s.
Enemy of the People.
And Will was alive, our director,
Right.
so he kind of knows everything that is mentioned in the show. But like, I'm trying to think of things that are not a spoiler. They mention a lot of 90s like TV commercial products, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, you know, when they're like, "Oh my God, here's this thing
Here's
called
this thing
like."
called this, and this is what's gonna help. with.
Yes, exactly. So there's a lot of mentions of like things like that, and like what
Okay.
I would do in that case is I would research that and like let everybody know what it was used for, what it is, and why it's in the show.
Gotcha.
Like, what's the reason they're talking about it?
And so, what are you working on? Because I remember for Cabaret when we did it, we had like the entire hallway in Thomas like decked out to be like the hallway into like the Kit Kat Club.
Ooh.
So like, what do you have any plans, or like, what are you gonna put in the playbill? What are you gonna do?
Okay, so for the hallway specifically, what I want to do is I want to do a timeline of Dolly Parton's
Okay.
life, since she is the writer and it's
Right.
based on her movie 9 to 5 that came out in the 1980s, I think. I was
think
just
so.
researching this. I was just researching it. I should know. I should know. And then I'm also going to do a timeline of 9 to 5 itself. So I'm going
Okay.
to like start it at the song, then how it's in the movie. Or technically it was written for the movie, I think.
Okay.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm going to get there.
Were you doing the research?
I'm doing the research. And then how the musical came to be, like what was the point behind it, kind of like what Dolly's intention was behind getting it on Broadway
Right.
and all of that. And then for the playbill, I'm going to put some Dolly Parton fun facts.
Oh, that's our next question.
Oh my God.
Have you like, what fun facts have you learned doing this,
Oh
like
my
doing
God,
the research?
Off the top of my head. One that I found really interesting is that Dolly Parton wrote Jolene and what is it called?
And
I Will Always Love
I
You.
Will Always Love You.
In the same day.
I did hear that once.
And then her nails. She has acrylic nails, and I think it's in the song 9 to 5. She would if she was like on set or something, she would just like play her nails and like make up beats, and that's what 9 to 5 is like. The beat of it is her doing her nails, and Dolly Parton's nails is credited on the
hear that
album.
Once.
What else she's been with her husband for over 50 years.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then Dollywood is her theme park, which I didn't know existed until I did this.
I've been there, and it was actually great.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
She doesn't ride the rides.
I mean, yeah,
she gets motion sickness.
She's old.
Well, no, when it
sorry,
like first,
Dolly, but you're old. I wouldn't expect her to ride the rides.
No, when it first opened in like 1996, she was like, "I don't ride the rides because I get motion sickness," and I was like,
"No, but they're like good rides. Like I want to go back. We went for my uncle's. He wanted to go, so we all went to Tennessee. It was actually so much fun. Like I want to go back to Dollywood.
That's cool. Oh, and she actually grew up poor, and her family, her mom played guitar and sang. So she like started writing as like a toddler, and then her uncle was like, "Let's go to a radio show," and that's kind of what got her started. And then her career really took off in 1967. Yes, 1967. Okay. She was on this talk show, and she performed with this guy, and that's when she like, another fun fact. They're just like popping in my head now. She's, I think it's called an EGOT, something like that.
Is she an EGOT winner?
Yes.
Or
she was nominated for every award. So like she was at least nominated for an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. She's gotten Tonys for 9 to 5.
Yeah. As long as she doesn't have a Grammy.
And like, I think she does.
She for sure has a Grammy. There's no way. Oscar,
I don't remember if it said she won all of them or if she was just nominated for all of them. But
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if she was.
Either way.
It's the queen she is.
Right.
But on top of being a dramaturg, you're also in the ensemble.
I am.
So who are you playing?
So I played Josh. He is Violet's teenage son. So he just loves his mom, and he's like, "What's up? How you doing? You need to relax." He gives her some weed. They have some fun. Yeah. And then he comes picks her up from work. That's all that really happens with him. He's just there and he's vibing, you know.
Is there like a favorite scene you have?
Specifically Josh or Emmy? Probably when he offers her weed. They're fixing this garage door and she's like just talking about her work life and how it's like so stressful, and he's just like, "Here's some weed, Mom." And he's just so chill about it.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
I was like, "Okay, Josh."
Well, thank you for coming, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to see what you do for the hallway and the playbills.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. Thank you for coming.
Of course, thank you.
Lastly, we are going to be joined by Richard Divirgilio, who is the assistant choreographer, and John O'Connor, the dance captain. Hello, guys.
Hello.
How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you for
Awesome.
having us.
Thank you for coming. So, what made you two want to take on these roles?
So I'll go first. I am a member of the cast as well as dance captain. So I auditioned just like everyone else, attended dance calls, which we had at the same time as callbacks. And upon going to callbacks, I was asked to fill the role of dance captain, as well as being a cast member by the choreographer, Mark, who's amazing. I'm sure we'll talk about him in a bit. I've always loved dance, so it's nothing more. I just get to help teach, get to work on stuff, and I just love it.
Right. And then what about you, Richard? What made you want to be the assistant choreographer?
So I was only actually in the cast my freshman year for The Addams Family, and it was during that production that I started out as dance captain. And from that point on, I wanted to stay involved in the club, but I really didn't have as much time to commit. So I decided to step into the role of assistant choreographer and sort of serve in a more administrative position, serve as a second set of eyes, just to be involved and to be at rehearsals with everyone, but also to still have time for the other obligations.
Right, and what does these roles entail? So what does assistant choreographer do for rehearsals or help out with people in the show for choreography? What would that entail?
So John and I work in tandem most of the time, and what I do mostly in rehearsals is I watch the numbers and I clean them. So for example, if the whole cast is doing the same move, but some people are doing a certain hand and other people aren't, that's something I'm going to have to point out so that it looks uniform. Obviously, John would do that, but he's in the numbers, so he is performing and I'm just watching and giving notes, and then I also sort of am in contact with the choreographer Mark, and we will talk about together maybe things that we want to work on for the numbers.
Awesome. All right. And as dance captain, what do you do for this show?
So as Richard was saying, I am in all of the dance numbers, so I can't really watch unless after we watch back on a video. But as dance captain, it's kind of my responsibility to learn all of the choreography, whether I'm doing it or not. There's a few numbers where it's just the female in the ensemble, but I still have to know, just in case anyone has questions, executing choreography. And kind of what Richard was saying, we work very closely with Mark. He is a first-time choreographer with the Manhattan College Players.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Such a pleasure to work with, and I'm sad I won't have the opportunity to work with him again, hopefully one day. But as dance captain, after learning choreo, we executed. If someone wasn't there, I'm responsible for teaching. We also host specialized dance rehearsals for the cast where it's just us going over choreography, going through questions, because a lot of the time we don't have much time to work on choreography in set rehearsals with the director. So it's kind of better off for practicing and then going in and not stressing. And also a lot of the time I just serve as a test subject for Richard and Mark as they want to try new choreography out. They're kind of like, John, flip here, John, kick here, John, do this. So I'm kind of just expected to flip, kick, do whatever. And if we don't like it, we change it. And if it works, it works. So definitely a lot of trial and error that goes into my role. But we definitely work as a good team, a good trio.
That's good. And how on earth, like, do you remember every single, like, dance number, like, every single step? This is exactly what you do. So, like, fellow cast members can come and ask for you for help. Like, how I could never imagine, like, trying and remembering every single dance.
I don't know. Being totally honest, I really don't know how it works. I've been dancing for a majority of my life, so it kind of comes naturally at this point. But I really couldn't tell you. Maybe they can do a study on it one day, what part of the brain it stays in. It just happens. Briley is also in the ensemble. We kind of are on the principal dancer track. So we're responsible for kind of majority of the ensemble dance routines. And yesterday at rehearsal, for example, we were learning one of the dances. And Mark, the choreographer, did an 8 count. And we just watched and did it. He didn't even have to stop and teach it to us. So we're kind of just programmed at that point. If you asked me to tell you what a note was on a piece of paper, I could not do that. But if you give me an 8 count, I'll know it in 30 seconds. So everyone's brain's different. I don't know.
Right.
It just works.
There you go. There you go. And what about you, Richard? What do you, like, do you have any, like, little, like, tidbits or, like, tips or anything like that?
So generally speaking, I would say that in this production, the way that I've been able to remember all of the choreo is being a part of it. So sort of another facet of my position is filling in for people that aren't there to make sure that the formations are complete. And so as a result of that, I'm able to kind of live in the music and the choreo because it's easier to remember it that way, I think, than just off of the top of your head.
Right.
And in addition to that, it's easy to remember the choreo when we're going over it all the time in rehearsals. And I think that both of us are human and we're not perfect, so sometimes we do forget or we mix up the order of things. But everyone has been very gracious and kind and understanding, and I think that it's really been a fun experience so far and kind of a challenge.
Awesome. So lastly, what can we expect from the choreography in this show? Because I'm very excited for that. What can we expect?
I mean, you can expect everything but the kitchen sink. It really is just a mixed bag. You've got so many different styles of dance, so many different levels of dance. We have people doing jazz squares and simple walking formations, and then people doing kip-ups, headstands, diving
Aerials.
rolls, pancakes, the whole 9 yards. So it's going to be very visually stimulating, and the music in the show is super fun. So I'm really confident that we did a good job, and I'm excited.
Well, awesome. There you go.
Yeah, just to take off of what Richard said, in rehearsal yesterday, I was actually told I wasn't allowed to be mic'd because of the way I'm soaring through the air, quite literally. To give a little glimpse, there's one part and there's a dream sequence, and the lead, Frank Hart, is tied up, not to spoil, but he is tied up, and the kind of pass ends with me diving through the air and rolling. So you will see that. So there's a lot going on.
Okay.
Briley, who I mentioned prior, and I are in the air or on the floor more than we are standing upright. So it's definitely interesting. It's been great. Like Richard said, there's a bunch of different styles. There's line dancing, there's waltzing. It's been so fun. And again, Mark's vision was very clear with us from the start. And he was very good at collaborating with us. He gave Richard and I a lot of creative freedom to kind of workshop stuff, map things out. There were so many times where we'd be sitting in our apartment just playing the music, thinking of what to do. I was just like, okay, Richard, let me lift you. Let me try this. Let's do this. So it worked really well, and I'm excited to see it all come to life in costume and everything. And it's going to be really cool. I think it's something different than Players is used to. I know Cabaret last year was very performance heavy, but it was on like a smaller scale. It was in the box. And this, where I think it's just as performance heavy, I think it's very big. And that's a good word, I'd say, for it. It's a big show. So there's a lot to expect. It's really fun, something for everyone.
So, well, I cannot wait to see it. Thank you so much for coming in today. And I'm going to break a leg. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching today. In the next episode, we will be joined by the beautiful ensemble members. And don't forget to see 9 to 5 the musical from April 21st to the 23rd.
Tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life.